right. So the first scripture, number 1, corresponded to what?
James 1.
Very good.
Chapter 1.
And number 2 scripture.
James 1:5.
Very good. Number 3. 4. Very good. Number 5.
126.
Very good. Number 6.
112.
Number 7.
James 1:13.
And number 8. Very good. So that gives you kind of just a quick overview of James chapter 1, various scriptures that come out of that. Pastor Kelly and I had talked about that this study was going to be very, what would be the term? Experiential, interactive. We had previously touched on, I think it was the last message in the series of Bible Basics, about different Bible study methods. And there's certainly different Bible study methods that are out there. And when we're through with this, I will give you 5 methods for studying the Bible. So if the methods that I'm sharing with you over the course of the next 5 weeks don't tickle your fancy as to how to study a book of the Bible, then you can look at also ways to just study the Bible in general. Because there's different ways that you can approach it. It all depends on what you're trying to get out of it and that. But because we're doing the book of James, we're going to be doing 5 different Bible study methods. And you'll have homework. Okay? I know that may not thrill some of you, but what's a Bible study if you don't have homework, okay? So, the 5 that we're going to be touching on for studying books of the Bible, so saying you want to take a book of the Bible and you want to study it. There's systematic, where you read one chapter at a time, you summarize the chapter in your own words, you kind of try to identify key terms, people, events, things like that. You note repeated words or ideas, and you reflect on how the chapter connects to the rest of the book and the Bible as a whole. And then you try to apply one lesson or truth to your life. Now, one of the things that you're going to see in common amongst all Bible study methods is that very last one. How do you apply it to your life today? Okay? Because if you don't figure out how you can apply it to your life, then you're just reading the book. Okay? But the purpose of study is to understand it and apply it. And it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice, just like anything. You need to practice it, and that's why we encourage people to read the Bible, to just read it, and we encourage people to study as well. The next one is called verse mapping, and it's for deep exploration of individual verses in the Bible.
Mapping.
Verse mapping. So you choose a verse from the book you're studying, and you kind of zero in on that. You identify keywords, phrases, and define them. You can even go so far if you've got a Greek Hebrew dictionary or concordance. You can identify what the words mean in Greek or Hebrew. And then that helps you to better understand the verses. You explore cross-references. Some of you may have Bibles that have 2 columns and down, well, even single column. There can be little numbers off to the sides that reference other scripture. And that is cross-referencing. It's showing you that there's other places in the Bible where this is talked about. Okay? And I don't think What?
My study Bible does.
Study Bibles usually do, because that's part of the purpose of study, is to check those cross-references. Consider the context within the chapter and book. How does that verse fit in to the overall chapter and the overall book and what's being talked about? And then paraphrase the verse in your own words. It's kind of like reading it and then, okay, what does this mean to me? How would I say this if I was trying to tell somebody about it without saying it from memory or, exactly as it's written? And that also helps you to get it down in your mind. And that's exactly what we talked about with the message, the Bible, the message. It's paraphrased. It's put into language and phrased in such a way that makes it easier to understand. And then, of course, apply it. How do you apply this verse to your life? The next one is a thematic study method for a book. So you trace themes across the book of the Bible. So it's thematic. And again, the same thing that you're doing here is you're identifying key themes. There could be, in that book and the chapters and so forth, there could be key themes about grace or faith or suffering, things like that. Track where and how these themes appear throughout the book. Ask what the author is teaching through this theme. What is the author trying to get across? And then compare with how the same theme appears in other books. Again, that's a cross-reference piece. As an example, in the book of James, you might trace the theme of faith and works across all 5 chapters, because that's kind of what overall James really pushes, is faith and works. The fourth one is inductive Bible study, and that's what we're going to be experiencing tonight. That's what we're going to be doing. It's for serious, in-depth study with personal application. So you observe what the passage says, who, what, when, where, why, how, that kind of questions. Interpret it. What does it mean? Consider context, the culture, the author's intent. And this is where a good study Bible comes into play, because usually at the beginning of the book, they give you a lot of information about the overall book, why it was written, who it was written to, when it was written. Sometimes it's in a column off to the side. Sometimes it's just the introduction to the book and things like that. And then, of course, the last one is application of that. So observe, interpret, apply. How does it apply to me? And oftentimes, like the method that you're going to have here, it's engage someone else. Talk to someone else about it, about how you want to apply this to your life. And then the fifth one is a book survey method, getting the big picture before a detailed study. So as you can see, you could do different types depending on how much you want to immerse yourself in the study. But I would go easy on yourself. So a book survey, read the whole book in 1 or 2 sittings, identify the main theme and purpose, outline the structure, sections and chapters. Most Bibles kind of do that for you. They have broken down into the different sections. Note key people, places, and events. Who is it being written to? Where is it being written from? Things like that. Record your first impressions or questions that you have as you read it. And then use the overview to guide you into deeper study. Maybe you, after reading it like that and looking for those themes, there was a certain verse that jumped out at you. So you want to do a verse mapping of that. Or maybe a certain theme jumped out at you, so you want to do a thematic study of it. So it's just, these are different methods that you can use to do this. So over the course of the next 5 weeks, we're going to take a chapter at a time, and tonight's chapter is going to be an inductive Bible study. Okay? And then next week we'll have a different type for chapter 2, so that you can get an idea, and maybe you'll decide, I really like this type of study, or I like that type of study. But we want you to kind of have an experience with it. And because you're at tables, you can work together through this. You can help each other to figure this out, okay? And then we'll wrap up with just a couple of questions for discussion, if we have time, okay? Sound good? All right. So, your mission, should you choose to accept it.